Aldeguer on the 54 bike then fires from pole position. A potential title decider in Moto2 is lights out and underway here at the Sepang International Circuit. Aldeguer got the dream launch from that third consecutive pole position, but it's Manu Gonzalez got the drop on him on the right-hand side there now, coming into the hard braking zone for the first corner. Gonzalez will lead the pack into turn one. It's been a real strong start for Pedro Acosta. He's immediately up inside the top three. Oh, there's contact there, and Gonzalez goes down. Amazingly, somehow, the whole pack avoid both him and his crash motorcycle, but there was clear contact there between Aldeguer and Gonzalez as they dropped down the hill into turn two. The biggest relief is Gonzalez was not tagged by anybody.
Yeah, fortunately he wasn't tagged. The rider who had to slow up most to get out of the way was Tony Arbolino, who was running in fourth at the time. So if he was trying to keep the title hopes alive, that's certainly not helped Arbolino, nor is that as Aldeguer goes through on him. Aldeguer then is now up into the top five now, moving through on Tony Arbolino. Aldeguer leads, but we'll wait and see whether he might come under investigation for that.
Another one-man demolition job emerging here already. Aldeguer through the first half of this lap two has already found over 4/10 of a second to Acosta in second place, who does of course not need to take any kind of big risk to go with Aldeguer with a challenge mistake.
Oh,
and Arbolino! Well, that is all game over, isn't it? There was, oh dearie me, it was dodgems into that turn 9, and Tony Arbolino came out by far the worst of it. Around the outside of him goes Alex Escrige. So Tony Arbolino sees his slim and slender World Championship hopes pretty much completely disappear here on lap 2 in Malaysia. Back at the front already in cruise control is your race leader, Fermin Aldeguer, who did a 2:06.316 on that second lap. It was Lucas Tulovic that crashed out on that lap 2. A poor weekend for Liqui Moly Husqvarna with Darren Binder sadly sidelined from this Grand Prix, but in a picture of his own there, sweeping through turn 5, goes Aldeguer, who's 2 seconds clear now of the chasing pack, although, keep a close eye on this one, the F1 MotoGP stewards are having a very close look, as you knew they would do, at the Aldeguer-Gonzalez contact. We still await a replay of that turn 1, turn 2 incident.
The pace he's currently going, much like Alonso Lopez and Philip Byrne last year, he can serve a long lap penalty and still win this Grand Prix. The way he's going, he's already 2.2 seconds up the road, halfway through this third lap of 17, so I think even if he does get some sort of penalty for that, it might well be academic. It might bring him closer to Acosta, but I don't think it's going to stop Fermin Aldeguer winning this race. As Vietti now goes down, that turn looks 9. Like turn 9 as well.
Oh, Dixon.
And Deepak Guevara has then followed him in to the same corner. Guevara also out, so turn 9 is claiming quite a few victims in this Moto2 race.
Here is Manu Gonzalez then, who has remounted after his early drama. Here we go then, side by side we see, I don't really think you can apportion blame there to Fermin Aldeguer. I think that's just a racing incident.
That's just a turn 1. They were side by side. He was fairly on the inside. This is the view from Pedro Acosta, so the gap is there, no question about that. And of course, Gonzalez wants to come over to the right-hand side to give himself the best line for turn 2, and finds a Boscoscuro on his right-hand side. So I think it would be rather harsh if Aldeguer gets a penalty for that. But as I said a few laps ago, I think it's rather academic anyway. Fermin Aldeguer is going to be so far out of the road that no long lap penalty is going to deny him the race lead.
Canet peels in for his long lap penalty after his crash on the yellow flags in qualifying yesterday. He's almost in downtown Kuala Lumpur there, isn't he? Canet will filter back into the field just ahead of, was that Jeremy Alcover?
So he's down in 14th.
Here comes Ramirez then into turn 4, and the pressure behind him is starting to mount, isn't it? And that pressure is being built by Aldeguer.
This is a rather forlorn Tony Arbolino, who knows that his World Championship hopes are going to end in 5 laps' time. You could argue they've effectively been over for a couple of races now, because Pedro Acosta has been absolutely relentless. And this race, in some ways, just is a symbol of how strong Acosta has been this season, because even on his relatively poor days, and he's not had an answer to Fermin Aldeguer here this afternoon, Acosta is still going to finish a comfortable second. It would take him level. He would equal the record for the most Moto2 podiums in a single season. It would be podium number 14 of the season for Pedro Acosta, and still 2 more opportunities to take that record outright for himself. Acosta just gives you absolutely nothing. And on a day when Tony Arbolino has found himself guilty of some ill fortune, it wasn't his fault on the first lap. His World Championship hopes look like they're finally going to be over.
The world champion Pedro Acosta, surely now it is in his hands. He's had nothing for your runaway race leader Fermin Aldeguer. He knew he didn't have to take the big risks. All he would have been running was seeing where Tony Arbolino was on his pit board. He comes through turn 9, 5 corners remaining then. All that's standing between Pedro Acosta and the biggest day of his racing life as he steers his way towards Moto2 World Championship glory in 2023.
Ramirez continues to hang on from Agura. The gap between them is 0.3 of a second coming through the second set. You'll just be able to catch a glimpse of them in the back of the picture. Ramirez looks like he might just hang on for that first podium, but the headlines are going to be made up ahead of him.
8 seconds clear of Pedro Acosta is the man on this motorcycle, number 54, Fermin Aldeguer. Is he MotoGP bound in 2024? Well, he has dominated here. It's a sensational Sepang victory for Fermin Aldeguer. He comes over the finish line, but it's congratulations, all hail 2023 Moto2 World Champion. It's Pedro Acosta. The Spanish superstar creates history. He is the youngest ever Moto2 World Champion. Behind him, congratulations, Marcos Ramirez does take a first Moto2 podium. He did hold off the hard-charging Aldeguer. Dixon 5th, Tomcat Chanter 6th. Tony Arbolino's title hopes, well, they were slim, they were thin, and they have finally disappeared. Elfmark Vidas Racing will be back next year, but Pedro Acosta, congratulations. He is your 2023 Moto2 World Champion.
Pure domination. Your winner today, Fermin Aldeguer.
As Pedro Acosta starts to soak it up and let it sink in that he is now a double world champion.